with Can, new franchise partner, ISI, opening Wilmington location, Wilmington, North Carolina. You have a unique perspective on ISI, I think, starting out just because you've been a member at our original location in Myrtle Beach, right? So tell me a little bit about how you found that you wanted to become a business owner with ISI.
Right. It was really interesting for me because I've always been the typical gym guy. Mm-hmm. I go and I lift weights and we get that pump and we go home. And, at one point I felt myself having a plateau. So I was kind of thinking, like, what can I do to get out of this, to really push myself? And I had a friend of mine that was asking me, please come to ISI. And I've told this story a million times. I said to him, I don't want to go jump around. That's not me, my knees, my back, my this. I find every excuse in the world. Long and short of the story is he eventually bought me a pass and I had to show up. Mm-hmm. And from day one, I showed up. I realized that this thing was different, that the vibe and the energy and the people and the community was really different. And it was really something I wanted to be a part on. Mm-hmm. I got that bug in me and I thought to myself, I would go back to like another establishment where I'm lifting weights and I would be telling everybody about it. So I thought to myself, man, if I'm already so addicted to this brand that I'm telling anybody who wants to listen, why not become a franchise partner? Mm-hmm. And that's what really, that bug in my ear really made me make that decision.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about your background.
Originally, I'm from a tiny island in the Caribbean. It's Grenada. It's all the way south. I left there when I was 20 years old to go to university to pursue my education in business management and marketing. Successfully completed that. Unfortunately, I graduated when we had the big collapse in 2008. So I figured, what can I do to really get some perspective on after coming from a small island? So I ended up moving to Canada, getting a great job with Hertz. I worked as a district manager with them in Vancouver, had like 7 locations at the time that I oversaw. And then I moved to Toronto, and I had about 20 when I moved over there. So I was in a district manager role for almost 10 years. And that's something I really enjoyed, leadership with people, building teams. And, so that's kind of my background, my skill set, sales and driving the business forward, all the KPIs and stuff. So that's kind of what I did for a long period of time until I moved back to the U.S. Mm-hmm. Came back to the U.S. and in my current role, I'm a sales manager. Mm-hmm. And again, with people, developing teams, driving sales.
Awesome. So what does that mean to you, like to be kind of the background that you're from and then be a business owner? Like what does that mean?
I've always wanted to have my own business. And I feel like over the years, these companies and my career path has really prepared me for where I am with ISI today, right? To really take that skill set, whether it's leading people or understanding construction or, project management, that type of thing, has really given me the skill set needed to do my own thing finally and bet on me. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of stage I think I am in my life where I've been through the corporate world. Now it's time to bet on me and go after my dream.
So coming through the process, obviously there is a process, right? When you sign up or when you inquire about opening an ISI and you go through the presentations and you learn more about the business, you learn more about the financials, you come down, you work out with the team, you get to meet us, you get to see some presentations. Going into that, like, did you have any reservations, any fears, anything that process helped you kind of overcome to really make your decision?
Yeah, I think when you're going into a new venture like that, and obviously you're going to be putting so much capital on the line, you're taking so much risk, you always have that fear that you're not good enough or you don't have all the tools or the skill sets to actually get it done. The one thing that really impressed me with ISI is that I instantly felt like part of the family. Last night when I was leaving to go back to my hotel room, I got a hug from everybody, right? It wasn't like we're corporate and you're the franchisee partner. I really felt like I was part of that family. So that's one of the things that helped to alleviate my fears, is that I felt like you guys were there with us to see us be successful and you guys wanted us to be successful. So
tell me a little bit about kind of what is your vision? What's your goal for not only the Wilmington community by bringing an ISI in, but like what's your goal for personal growth, for professional growth and getting into this?
Yeah, I think, again, for me, my ultimate goal here is to make sure that I challenge myself to become a better leader, right? I don't want to be stagnant in any way. I want to continue to grow as a leader. I want to see myself obviously do what's best for the brand. One thing the brand always says is do the right thing. I always want to keep that in the back of my mind, that whenever I get out there in the community or as I'm building the Wilmington ISI, that this affects every other location across the country and the long-term growth of the brand. So I think that's kind of my big goals, is to make sure that I stay in line with that. Yeah, I want to continue to grow. Yes, I want my location to grow, but I also want to do what's best for the brand.
Tell me a little bit about, 5 years, 10 years down the road, right? Maybe you have multiple locations open, but what does success look like? What does freedom look like for you?
Yeah, it's important for me to, let me be honest. The financial side is, yes, we want to be profitable and we want to make money, but that is not what success looks like to me. For me, I want to see the impact that I'm having on these communities, right? If the community is one thing, but also my team. If I can lead a team that eventually have leaders that become franchise partners, that's success for me, right? I always feel like any success that I've had in the past, it's always been right back to the team that we've built, right? So I think that's where I'm aligned. I want to see the impact on community members, and I also want to see the impact on team members. I want them to eventually be franchise partners, right? So that's where my vision is. We'll get financial success if we build the right team.
That's good. So you're kind of building from a side of like, let's build a community, let's build a team, the money will come. Exactly. Right? If we do everything else right,
exactly,
the money will come, right? And that's kind of our core values, right? Yeah. Do the right thing, rise as one, earn your results, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you said something that I wanted to circle back to, but what is kind of in your past, working with Hertz, or something that you've learned here in training, or through the Meet the Team Day or anything, like what do you think kind of the biggest learning curve you may have coming into business ownership would be?
The biggest learning curve, I've been exposed to several things over the years, but I think, when you really have your own business, now you got to make, you know that the buck really stops with you. So I think for me, it's just making sure that administratively, that all of that stuff is really process oriented, and you can stay on top of that and stay organized, right?
Yeah.
And again, just understanding my strengths and my weaknesses, and make sure I have the right people in place to kind of balance that out, right?
Yeah, you got to set your team up.
Right. So, for example, if I know, that I'm really good at generating sales, or building those business-to-business relationships, maybe my facility manager also has to be really good at just administratively making sure those employees are onboarded properly. Like just that skill set, making sure everything is aligned, right?
Yeah, one of the things that I like to talk about is hiring to your weakness, right? It's like that, hire that superstar that can fit a void that you don't have, and then just kind of get out of their way. Right?
Exactly. You got to
you set the
them.
standard.
Exactly. And
then
it's very important that we're not building teams to then micromanage it, right? We have to empower them, trust them to make the decision. Most important thing when you build teams, allow them to make the decision, good, bad, or in between, right? Because they can always learn from a bad decision, but they can't learn from indecision, right? So that's where I am.
Yeah. That's nice. I like that. I say a lot that, we say a lot here in the HQ culture that doing nothing is always a problem. Right. So you'd rather do stuff and fail, because like you said, you'll learn more out of it.
Right.
But then like doing nothing, you're gaining nothing. Right. You know what I mean? So everyone's kind of at a standstill.
Yeah. When I was like 8 or 9, my mom had given me this little card that I put in my first little wallet, and it said, "It's always better to try and fail than fail to try." And that's something that I've always taken with me. What's the worst that could happen? You're back at zero, right? You learn from it and you keep going, right?
Somebody out there is thinking about opening an ISI, right? Thinking about joining the family. What would you tell them? Like, what piece of advice would be like, hey, I'm here. This is why you should do it.
If you're coming into a family like ISI for the money, it might not be the right fit for you, in my opinion. Because when things get tough or things get tight or you have a bad month or a bad quarter, you might doubt what you're doing, right? But if you're coming into this because you want to genuinely build communities and make people better, and build teams and give them an opportunity to be successful and grow in their careers, then when things are tight and things are not growing the way they should, you can always fall back on that. Mm-hmm. You can fall back to the core of, I want to have an impact on my community. This is why I'm doing it, right? So if you have those goals in mind, I think that's a better starting point, and that would be a better fit for ISI. Because like they say in the mission, we rise as one, right? We build communities that strengthen and sharpen each other, right? So that's, I think, you got to look at that mission statement and say, do I align with that mission statement that ISI has, right?
Mm-hmm. So tell me, you're in a unique position as, becoming a franchise partner, that you're a member and you've been a member.
Yeah.
How will you use, or how will you benefit from being a member inside, sweating on the turf every day, to now owning one?
Right. I think that, again, it has put me in a unique position where I really think from the get-go I understand very clearly the ISI standards, because I've been to many different facilities. So I really have an inside view of what that should look like when I'm running my facility, right? I've felt the energy, right? I've felt the enthusiasm. I've done the high fives, So I think that has put me in a good position to actually be successful with mine, right? Because I have that inside view of what that real goal standard is. Yeah.
Awesome. So I want to give you an opportunity. This is the place where we're going to kind of say, hey, Can, this is your release to Wilmington. This is you telling people, hey, I'm coming.
Right.
I'm opening. Here's what we're about. Come and try us out.
Listen, life is hard. Working out is hard. Becoming the best version of yourself is definitely hard. So why not do it with a community, right? That's going to challenge you to become the best version of you. Why not do it with a community that has coaches that are more than coaches? They genuinely want you to be successful, right? So that's what I will throw out there. The community at ISI really rises as one, and I think that you will see the benefit and feel the benefit in that when you come to ISI.